Hey, so right now we're in one of my favorite bars named Gaucho's. And one reason I love it is that it's totally unlike American bars. As you can see, it's well lit, the music isn't too loud, the beer is very, very cheap. And I think it's just an example of the fantastic Spanish eating and drinking culture. And I like this bar so much that a couple years ago I decided that I'd write about it on my blog, lotzandtranslation.com. So if you want to know more, you could check it out there. Well, one thing I think that makes Spanish bars different from American bars is that in America, bars are often places you go at night after work with your friends in order to basically to drink a lot of quite expensive alcohol. And in Spain, bars are more like an extension of your living room. And it's where people go to socialize at all hours of the day. And you don't have to spend a ton of money, you don't have to drink a lot, and it's really more of just like a public meeting space, I would say. So here we are near Atocha in the Pantheon of Illustrious Men, as you could see. It's kind of a beautiful building, not as old as you might think. It's about a century old, and I wanted to explain some of the history. So if you've ever visited Paris, you would know that in Paris they have a pantheon where several famous people are buried, including Victor Hugo and Voltaire. And Spain had the idea of doing something similar. But there was a problem in Spain, which is that several of their most famous bodies remained unlocated. For example, for a while it was unknown where Cervantes was buried, and Velázquez's body was also lost. There's a whole complicated story about Spain trying to retrieve Goya's body, which I can't even tell now for lack of time. But in the end, they decided they were going to make a pantheon of illustrious men, but for lack of better and more famous bodies, they were going to use politicians. And so the people buried here are politicians from the end of the 1800s and the early 1900s, when Spain actually had quite a corrupt system of government, sort of a parliamentary democracy that was totally corrupt. And about half the people buried here were actually assassinated by anarchists because the politics was so dysfunctional at the time. Nevertheless, many of the tombs are extremely beautiful, and it's a place worth visiting because it's very close to the Atocha station and it's free to visit. Hey, we're in the Barrio de Pacífico, which is where I live, in the Nave de Motores, one of the free museums of the Metro de Madrid, and let's take a look inside. Okay, so when the Metro of Madrid originally opened in 1919, the municipal power grid wasn't powerful enough to supply the electricity for the Metro, so they needed to create their own power generators specifically for the Metro, and they used these huge diesel generators, which are actually taken from a decommissioned World War I era German battleship. And as you could see, they're completely massive. And as you might imagine, when they were running, the noise was totally deafening, and everyone who worked here had to wear headphones and communicate using signs. So here's one of the more interesting and free places to visit in Madrid. So in addition to having a blog where I write dorky stuff about my neighborhood and Spain in general, I also write fiction, and my new book, Don Bigote, is out. It's about a man with a fabulous mustache who is in the thralls of right-wing conspiracy theories and who sets out to save the world. If that sounds appealing to you, check it out.